Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Stories from the Ratless. My name's Christian. And before we get started, please don't forget to click on the notifications button to never miss a story. And please like and subscribe so I can give you more stories. Let's get started. This week, I was talking to three of my very close friends of mine. We graduated high school together. So for me, we've known each other for 12 plus years. Okay, and I want to share a story with you guys of one of the most memorable stories that I've had with these guys. Okay, it's we've been through so much. There's plenty to talk about, and I will go on later talking about more stories with them. But this story that I have for you guys today, is very dear to me. Like I said, it's four of us. We created this group. Even years later, even till now, right? We still call ourselves the We Team, right? Because it was always with us. It's always we can do this, we can do that. Now, part of this clique, of course, right? It was myself, my best friend Marcos, Alex, and Leslie. Leslie was the girl of the group, was the one that was there to give us the girl advice, right? That she was the girl that hung out with us, but every time we all had a girlfriend, was the one that was being hated on, right? Oh, why are you hanging out with her? Again, it's a different story for a different day. The story I want to tell you guys is, after high school, you lose a lot of friends, right? Because in high school, you feel like you got so many friends, but at the end of everything, at the end of that cycle, you end up talking to like two people. Well, with us, it was all four of us. We hung out. But at the beginning when we first graduated, we lost, communication with Marcos. It was one day we ran into him, we started talking, and we continued our conversations like we had left it the last we had talked. And we came with this idea. We came, hey, you know what? Maybe we should go camping, right? We should go camping, all four of us. But of course, we needed supplies, right? We needed to understand what we need to go camping. I mean, we've all gone camping before, but this one was we're planning it ourselves, right? Usually when I would go camping, it was somebody else planning everything for me. I would just pitch in for whatever they needed. But this one was our planning. So we understand that we needed, of course, tents, sleeping bags, food, firewood. Well, here's the thing with that, right? We needed also a car. Now the only person with a car was Marcos. Marcos had this passport. Now Alex had a van. It wasn't his, but he didn't want to take that van. Right now, the van was his family car. There's stories in that one too. Okay, but he didn't want to take the van. It was a green. Trust me, it was green. I wouldn't be in it. But Marcos was excited. He had his own car. It was a passport, and he's like, yeah, but we can take my car. Like, oh, awesome. So we get the vehicle. Now, money wise, right? Now, Alex was living off his financial aid throughout this whole time. So he would get financial aid, and he would pretend to buy books or download books, but he would have the financial aid. I was working some odd jobs, to trying to survive after high school. Marcos was working in the airport at McDonald's, so he was working. And then there was Leslie, she was just there. And finally, we came to be right where we decided to go. We decided to, hey, let's go to Lake Piru. Alex said he had been there, and it was nice. So we had a lake. We can go in the boats. We can go swimming, right? Okay. Now, while we were getting close to the date, we realized that we were short on funds. Alex goes, well, I can tell an ex-girlfriend of mine. And we're like, okay, that's cool. That's fine with me. I don't care. Marcos goes, what about Leslie, right? Because again, Leslie was the girl in the group that when we dated someone, she was not liked. Because, again, women at some point are very insecure and we're like, ooh, why are you hanging out with another girl? Right? So, we decide not to tell Leslie that this girl was coming. Now, I'm not going to say the name of the girl, the ex-girlfriend, for privacy reasons, okay? So for this story, we're just gonna name her. We give her a name. What name should we give her? Mary, right? I'm gonna call her Mary. So we don't tell Leslie that we're bringing in another girl, right? We're not gonna tell her. Okay. Finally, the day that we need to go is here. Now we gotta pack everything on top, or we gotta pack everything in the car. So we meet up early on Friday. We meet up on Friday, and we're like, okay, let's put everything in the car. So we put we put the cooler, we put the sleeping bags, everything. And then comes me. Now I didn't buy a sleeping bag because I don't believe in sleeping bags, right? I feel like, you know what, I can't sleep like a burrito. I can't sleep looking like a tamal. And if there's a bear and one comes, I need to unzip myself. No. So I decided to bring every blanket that I could find in my house and put it on top of his car. Everything. All right. From the tiger blanket, because I'm Mexican, to the sabana, right? The sheets from my bed, because I wanted to be comfy. Yes, I wanted to take the comfort of my home. I wanted to take that into the woods. So we stacked everything on top of the passport. Now we need to tie it down. Now Alex over here is like, well, I know how to do knots. I was like, oh shit, I didn't know you were a goddamn sailor. Right, so he ended up tying some knots. We put my pillows on top. We pick up Leslie. It's me, Alex, and Marcos are going. Now we gotta go pick up this Mary chick. Okay. Now the idea here is we're gonna sit Leslie in the middle, and Alex is gonna be right in the window seat. Reason, because if Alex gets in the middle and the chick gets in the window side, Leslie will run away and will open the door and will walk away because they don't like each other. So we finally pick her up and she's like, what are we doing here? Why are we at this location? Are we supposed to be on the road? Like, yeah, don't worry about it, we're fine. And the girl gets there, she gets on the car, and we're like, Marcos, step on it. Go, there's no way, and lock the doors and put child lock. We're on our way, and it was awkward. It was awkward in the beginning. Yes, I am gonna admit it was very awkward because they didn't like each other. They were touching shoulders. But on our way there, we're on the 5, and the most tragic thing happened. Now you may say, oh, Christian, what tragic thing? Did they get in a fight? Did somebody fight? No. Our thing's starting to untie. You know the greatest knot maker in the world that was in the vehicle with us? Yeah, this shit it started to come apart. And all of a sudden, we're stuck in traffic. And a pillow just flies out the car. And I'm looking, I'm like, I think that was my pillow. I believe that was my pillow. Now we got traffic. And Alex goes, Christian, you should probably go get it. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, nah. I'm on this way. But me, I'm like, sure. And as soon as I'm opening the door, vroom, I was like, oh, no. I'm not gonna get down. So we get on the shoulder on the underpass by Magnolia in the 91. I'm pretty sure if you guys will know the area, you guys will know where that will be at. And now this Mary chick is recording everything that's happening, right? Because back in the day, our phones didn't have this technology as good as it is now. So we had a camcorder. For you millennials out there, a camcorder is something that old people like our parents used to record stuff with when they didn't have a phone. And she's using it, and you can see us trying to see if we can get the pillow, but my poor pillow just got ran over and over. That was very sad, right? So it still hurts. It still hurts to this day that I lost the pillow. So before I start crying for my pillow, we tie everything apart again, right? We tie it up really hard. I'm like, hey, knot maker, make 3 knots. Boom, we go on our way. All right, 2 hours later, we get there. We get to the location. Now, my job was to bring the cooler, the meat, and the firewoods. Okay, the firewood, the most important thing, because it was gonna get cold at night. So we get to the location. We find our spot, and Alex goes, "Hey, bro, start the fire." I had like, fuck yeah. Now at my time, we had a chimney before we moved into the house that I was living at. So what I thought, I was like, hey, I still got some wood from my old house we can still use. So I put in the fire wood into the pit, and it's little tiny blocks like this. And Alex goes, what the fuck is that? I'm like, what's the firewood? He goes, those don't look like firewood. Let me see the package. He opens the package and he goes, Christian. I'm like, what's up? These are fire starters. I was like, well, isn't that what we need to do? We need to start a fire. He goes, no, brother. You you get the firewood and then you put this on. So if you have issues starting a fire, you put it in and it'll help continue the fire. I was like, oh, well, I have a whole case of like 30 of those. He goes, no. So what's already there, right? We have no more firewood, right? Like they're going out quick. All right, so we conserve that. The next morning, we also forget to bring we forget to bring in cleaning supplies. I'm like, who was in charge of bringing like the soap and the scrub so we can scrub out our fucking pants? Cause I don't want to get food poison. Like, oh, Leslie goes, oh, that was me. It's like, oh God, now you gotta go clean it in the river. So that was the whole day, right? Now, let me backtrack a little bit, and I'm sorry. When we get there, we need to build up our tent. Right now, my tent was for like 8 people, and it was only me and Leslie, and Marcos forgot his tent. Yeah, Marcos forgot his tent. He goes, well, I'll just sleep in my car. Like, bro, no, just sleep with us. Sleep on the tent. And that's it. It's for like 10 people. Now Marcos is a big guy, so he's probably like about 5 people. Yeah, I got it, right, bro, right. You are, and Alex and his ex-girlfriend, right? We'll sleep together. I ain't gonna get into that story. All right, I'm gonna let you guys use your guys' imagination as to what was happening in that tent. But I can tell you that there was 2 tents being pitched that night. So we are, the next day, nobody brings the cleaning supplies, nobody brings the soap. So we're like, okay, whatever. We'll ask our neighbors. We ask our neighbors. We get it done, right? We find ways to solve our issues. All right, now dinner time came along. We're like, okay, let's make some burgers. Okay, we had gone to go get the food before we got to our location because we figured we don't want to forget anything. Well, we forgot the most important thing of a hamburger. Now you may say, well, what is it? You forget meat. Almost, almost, but no. We forgot the cheese. The cheese is. We forgot the cheese. We had everything. And Alex, I'm like, Alex, don't forget the cheese. Now I don't eat cheese. I can live without the cheese. But they all love cheese. Now, where's the goddamn cheese, Alex? He goes, I left it in the store. I was like, you kidding me, man? So now I was like, okay, what about ketchup? What about mayo? So that Mary chick was supposed to bring them, but no. The whole trip was full of mistakes, right? And for us on our way back, that's what we remembered. We were remembering the stuff, right? At the point of time when we were having that situation, we were like, God, I can't believe you did this. I can't believe you forgot this, right? There was a bit playing going on around. But for me, okay, that trip really cemented our friendship. For me, I feel like the reason why we are best friends to this day is because of things like that. Now, like I said, there's a lot more stories, and maybe this one may not be as huge, but the reason why I feel like it cemented our friendship is because we've been through so much already, even at that time, that I realized we are adults and we are able to make mistakes, and we made those mistakes on our own. There was no one. Like in high school, like I said, back in my other video says we had our parents. With this one, we didn't, right? We did everything on our own. Later down, Marcus goes in and confesses to me. He goes, guess what, bro? I'm like, what's up? He goes, I don't know how my passport made it. It had no oil on it. It had no brake fluid. I was like, no, what? No brake fluid. How are we braking? I mean, how hard was it to brake? He goes, well, I hadn't changed the car. He goes, I bought it and I hadn't changed the brakes. Or they told me that they hadn't changed the brakes in like over 5 years. I'm like, that was the screeching noise when we were going up the mountain. I was like, holy shit, we could have died. We could have died. But again, we did it. We had a lot of fun. There was no drinking at that point. There was no drinking, and I will tell you guys a story of why I wasn't drinking and later. Okay, that's a story for a different day. But again, just want to tell you guys, right? These people are these guys, these 2 guys and this girl. They're my family, and I miss them and I love them. Okay, with everything I got. And we understand, right, that now we're even more mature than when we were back then, and that was clearly like about 8-9 years ago. And even though we don't see as much of each other, we talk, right? We want, I keep up with them, they keep up with me, because that's what family does. So I, please, with everything happening, go hug the ones that are near and close to you. And remember those stories. Hang out with your friends. Hang out and talk about the good old days. Even if there were some mistakes in there, laugh about those, because those are the ones, the mistakes you learn. Like again, my dad used to tell me, you learn more from losing than you do from winning. Okay. And again, guys, thank you so much for joining in. Don't forget to subscribe and like and click on that notification button. See you later, guys.